Welcome everybody to the Critic's Corner. I'm Andrew Branca with the Waxahachie Sun. I'm here with my colleague, friend, and movie lover, Mr. David Dunn, with Southlake Style Magazine, and we are here to bring you another exciting movie to talk about today. I would probably deem it a classic. Magnolia with from 1999. Wow, dude. Wow, that's all I can say is wow. You've been on this binge of selecting movies that are like emotionally draining and sad, and I can't take it anymore, man. What holy crow to borrow that from you.
See, okay. First of all, yes, I did. You said wow at the end of this movie. That was my reaction exactly is wow. Second of all, you chose this movie, Andy. I gave you three options. You chose this one. We could have reviewed Catch Me If You Can, Leonardo DiCaprio, always a classic. Could have reviewed The Edge of 17 with Haley Steinfeld. What did you say? No, I don't want to do that tween drama. Let's do Magnolia. That's exactly your words. You picked this movie.
You're passing
yourself.
You're passing the buck here.
I'm not passing the buck.
You're passing the buck. You gave me three options.
I did, and you picked this movie. You picked it.
No, you picked it. So
no, you picked it.
We'll agree to disagree, but I'm right. So, anyways,
of course you are. You're always right. You're right with Die Hard. You're right with this.
I was right with
just
Die
because you
Hard.
say it doesn't make it so, Andy. Just so you know.
Yeah, it does, and I'm Captain Picard. So whatever, dude. Why don't you enlighten our audience about this ensemble of a drama movie?
Yes, sir. So this movie that you picked follows a group of characters on Magnolia Boulevard, which is a street in Los Angeles. It stars, like you said, a whole ensemble of characters. Tom Cruise plays this author and aggressive womanizer. Louise Guzman plays a game show host. Philip Seymour Hoffman plays a nurse taking care of a dying man. William H. Macy plays a former kid celebrity. John C. Reilly plays a cop. A whole slew of characters. And long story short, it shows all of their stories colliding into one very, very unexpected climax that I was not expecting at all. I can only assume, Andy, you weren't expecting it either.
Not at all. No. No one could expect this ever.
No, not at all. I was yeah. So getting into the movie, I was very surprised at this, Andy. I had heard about this movie before. One of the filmmakers I really respect, Paul Thomas Anderson. He's most known for doing recent dramas such as There Will Be Blood and The Master. So I'm familiar with his work. I like the films that I have seen of him, but I've heard over and over again that Magnolia is one of his best, if not the best. And after watching it, I kind of don't disagree, Andy. This is a very, very well layered drama with very woven stories that collide in a very beautifully disastrous mess. I don't know if you thought of this while watching this, Andy, but another film I thought of that came to mind while watching this was actually Crash, which is a 2003 drama, kind of told in a similar vein with interconnected stories and all that. But this is very, very well written and very, very well acted. And I think your reaction when initially looking at this movie was one of surprise, Andy. We literally pulled this movie up. Both of us were shocked to realize it was 3 hours long.
I wasn't expecting that at all.
I was like, oh man, I didn't know I was tuning in for a Lord of the Rings movie. But I was surprised to see that the 3 hours went by pretty quickly. I don't know about you, but
Yeah, I mean,
Watch-
I was definitely surprised by that. I mean, I've seen some of Paul Thomas Anderson's other movies before, but what's interesting about this movie is the first three movies he directed in his career. You have Heart Eight, Boogie Nights, and then Magnolia. Anderson really explores a lot of themes related to dysfunctional families, alienation, and loneliness. And he's also good about setting films that are in the San Fernando Valley in California that are realistically flawed with desperate characters, which I always find kind of interesting. And what's interesting with Boogie Nights and Magnolia, they were really noted for their large ensemble cast, which Anderson really tends to use throughout his. He's used a lot of the same people throughout his career.
Yeah.
Um, you know, I, it was an odd movie to say the least. I thought I didn't know how he was going to really tie it together. I thought some of it worked really well. I thought some of it didn't work really well. Um, I thought there was pieces that just there was maybe a little bit of gap, but the very dramatic moments were done beautifully. You could relate to some of the characters and what they were going through. There are a lot of themes that are very universal: pain, loss, desperation, loneliness, things that people in the audience and I'm sure you and myself have faced in our lives. And I guess that's the one thing I liked about this movie is just its relatability. um I didn't expect it to be 3 hours. That was very surprising. But the other thing I thought was interesting is a lot of John C. Riley's in this movie, and a lot of people, I guess, more later know John C. Riley as kind of a funny type of comedic actor, which is not really how he started his career. He's been in a lot of serious movies. Another film by Paul Thomas Anderson was Heart Eight, where that's an extraordinary movie. I mean, he's been Days of Thunder, which is ironically because he was in Talladega Nights later on, another NASCAR movie. But he was in Hoffa. I mean, he's been in a lot of serious movies before he broke into the comedic realm. He's had kind of almost like a second career in his acting life here, and he was very good in this as this lonely cop, so to speak, trying to find his significant other or other half, so to speak.
I like John C. Riley too. I liked him and his co-star Melora Walters. I think their chemistry was really tragic. It was really contrasting. It was very interesting. But you're right. You don't normally see John C. Riley as a really dramatic actor, but he did a really, really good job in this movie. As did everybody else in this movie, Andy. I honestly can't recall a bad performance. Everyone I remember, from Philip Seymour Hoffman to Melora Walters to Tom Cruise to everyone else under the sun. I just remember their performances being very, very well done. Them identifying and portraying their characters to the letter. And it's interesting at how much you remember all of them. Like they all have equally unique personalities, equally interesting stories, equally relevant themes, like you mentioned. And they do feel like people. They don't feel like characters just written into a screenplay. They feel like they would actually live on Magnolia Avenue. I thought that was very, very, very unique. Staying on Tom Cruise for a second, because out of all of the cast members in this movie, he was the only one to get nominated for an Oscar. And and I think he absolutely deserved it. I mean, he doesn't have as much spotlight as some of the other characters do, but he does such an amazing job with the few scenes he's given. He has done amazing, like whether he's just being a smug, selfish, womanizing d-bag, or whether he's being serious and stoic and has a death stare that could just melt through your mind, or when he's feeling genuinely grief-stricken and sad and just devastated. He goes through so many emotions in this movie, and I was impressed with him throughout the movie. There was not a single bad scene of Tom Cruise in this movie, which I think is funny. I've seen Tom Cruise be great, like in Magnolia, or see him be awful, like in movies like The Mummy. It's hard to imagine they're coming from the same actor, like just such different performances.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, Tom Cruise, I'm not a huge Tom Cruise fan. I mean, I like his movies. They're entertaining. I think I like a lot of his earlier stuff better, like Rain Man, personally.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he had a lot of depth of emotion, especially towards the end of the movie, where he has a very big dramatic scene that just, you can see the waves of emotion just going over him like the ocean lapping on the shore of a beach. I mean, it was really powerful. And yeah, no, I thought he did a fantastic job. I was actually surprised that he could kind of go to that level.
Yeah, literally. It blows your mind at you know how he's able to take on such a challenging role and do it so well. And not just him. Like I said, I think all of the cast members in here are amazing. William H. Macy, I particularly enjoyed as, this washed up kid celebrity. Julianne Moore was amazing as this woman dealing with, the slow and painful death of her husband. Yeah, I like I said, I don't think there's a single bad performance in this movie. I think it flows very, very nicely. It swiftly flows into one character story into another, and it builds up the interest and the intrigue enough to where you never feel bored through the whole thing. Again, I know we've talked about the runtime. It was a 3-hour movie. It feels like 2 hours. It flows so quickly, and that shocks me.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I think I would change the end. I get why he kind of did that in the end, and I don't want to give that away.
Yeah.
But I think he could have achieved the same results without the plot device that he used.
Okay, here's the thing. I actually disagree with that. I think the ending is brilliant. I love the climax. You were not expecting it. It came out of nowhere. It hit you like a frog on a windshield. And
Literally.
and it rounded out everything perfectly. And I think it captured the bizarre energy of this movie, right? Like, this movie is funny, it's unexpected. It takes you through amazing highs and amazing lows, and I think it just captures the absurdity of the movie brilliantly. I mean, it perfectly encapsulates it. The thing I would have changed with the ending, I would have changed 3 things. I would have changed the final shot, which I understand in an ensemble movie, it's hard to pick which character you want to end on. I think they could have chosen a character a little more fitting than the one they chose to end on this movie. Another character, they straight up just cut off their story. Like, you don't know how it ends. It's implied you think you know how it ends, but you don't know for sure. And then a certain way they portray the climax of this movie. It's hard to say all this without giving away spoilers, but there was a recurring motif throughout the movie that they were demonstrating, and you're looking at it, you're like, okay, why is the movie showing me this? And then you realize why in the 3rd act, and you expect it to repeat that motif, and it doesn't. So those are the three things I would change with this ending. Otherwise, the movie's masterful.
I think I personally, I think I would have ended it on Tom Cruise's character in the movie. I think that would have been a lot better.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings about it. Like I said, it's hard to pick a character to end on this whole thing. I feel like what they should have done was not ending on a character, but ending on a place, like maybe ending on Magnolia Avenue. Because if you remember in Crash, they didn't end with a character either. They technically ended with Ludacris's character, but they zoomed out to see the whole city of people colliding together. I think that could have been a stronger way, not focusing on a person, a place, specifically the place where all these stories take place.
Yeah, now that I think of it, that's probably would be a better actually way to conclude this type of narrative, I guess.
Yeah, because like I said, it's not about one character. It's about all these characters' lives and all of their struggles, all of their desires, all of their the tragedies that they're facing, and everything colliding into one chaotic night.
Well, on that note, I think we need to give it a rating, and so out of 10, what do you give this?
It's tough, Andy. I want to give it a 10. I want to give it a 10 because it's just such an amazing movie. But I think with the few mistakes that it was given, with particularly with the ending, I'm bumping it down to a 9.5. But otherwise, it's a masterful picture. I can definitely see this movie being the most highly regarded out of Paul Thomas Anderson's filmography.
I'd give it an 8. 8 out of 10. It was good. It was definitely it's one of those movies. I don't think it has that initial shock value when it's one of those films that you watch once and it doesn't have that same impact the second time around.
I mean, I haven't seen it a second time, so I can't.
I mean, it gives that impression to me, at least.
I can say I definitely want to watch this again, and I wouldn't be surprised if I watched it a third time. That was that special of an experience to me.
Okay.
I'm glad you enjoyed your selection, Andy.
No, you need to pick a comedy or something a little bit more lighthearted. You know, you're probably going to pick Lassie next week or Old Yeller where they shoot the dog. I mean, you know.
Again, I'm just stating for the record. I wanted to pick Edge of 17. You didn't want to do it, so here we are.
Whatever. Whatever. We'll agree to disagree there. So on that note, we're gonna wrap up the Critics Corner for this week. So if you have any thoughts, suggestions, or just want to talk about movies with us, please send us an email, give us a comment on our Facebook page here, and just let us know. So we will see you back next week in the corner, and take care, and we'll see you back here next week.
See y'all next week.